These hoes just ain't loyal, man. What the hell happened to making commitments and sticking it out with them? Chivalry just keeps on dying, and this latest trade between the Mets and Rangers only proves that. So thank you for being here. At least y'all are loyal until you're not, and then I just die, I guess. But if you're not part of the 49% elite humans, consider hitting that button if you like the videos, as we had our first pass and bomb of the offseason. It's here. The first genuine jaw-dropping moment of the offseason for me. The second was when I saw this car in front of me today. What in the New Jersey is this? Anyway, Marcus Semien is headed to the Mets for Brandon Nimmo. This one's just a classic 1-1 swap between the two teams, nobody else involved, and obviously pretty shocking. It came out of nowhere. First things first, I really want to say I think Marcus Semien's great. Like, personally, he's one of my favorite players in baseball. Definitely the best Marcus, if you want to just talk Marcuses. The other Marcus is weird, and go figure. These two actually had a little brief feud several years ago. Marcus on Marcus crime, you hate to see it. There's also another similar crime going on here between the two that we don't need to get into, but anyway, Semien's just cool. The coolest thing about him is how durable he is. Bro's the closest thing we have to a Black Cal Ripken Jr. in today's game. Nobody plays every day anymore, but Semien has several times, a lot of times. He's played all 162 games 3 times. He's played at least 155 games 8 times. I mean, if bro is healthy, he's like Amy Schumer and Ozempic. Can't get her off that drug, can't get Semien off the field. 2019 was his best offensive season. Then he made history a couple years after that, and I feel like everyone forgets this. If you ask most people who has the single season record for home runs by a second baseman, most people won't be able to answer that, or maybe they would. I just feel like nobody ever mentions this. But Semien hit 45 home runs in 2021 in his one-year fling with the Blue Jays, greatest one-night stand of all time. It was historic. No second baseman has more homers in one season. So that year, or 2019, could be looked at as Semien's best season, but to me 2023 was his magnum opus. Maybe not to you, but to me it is. And since Texas is the biggest state in America, I win. Anyway, forget missing any games. He didn't miss a pitch. He was a part of literally every pitch the entire season, plus the playoffs, a playoff run that ended in him on top. And he knocked home the final couple of runs of the World Series clinching game with a 2-run homer, showing more emotion than I've ever seen from the guy. And Semien also finished 3rd in the MVP voting that year. Now, he has fallen off with the bat since, which isn't the most surprising thing in the world. Semien's never been a consistent top hitter. Like, he's had his moments, I just went over them, but he's never been like a guy you full on count on to just help with his bat. The defense is a big part of why he's so valuable. So because of the fact that he's never been a bat that you can just rely on every year, plus now less than ever because he's theoretically declining going into his age 35 season, so his best years again are theoretically behind him. People are wondering why the Mets did this to begin with, especially if it took trading away who they did to do it. Brandon Nimmo, who is a little different of a player than Marcus Semien. In fact, many ways, he's like the opposite of Semien. He bats left-handed, he's an outfielder, and he's been a consistent above-average bat his whole career. Oh, and he's been on the same team his whole career. Meanwhile, Semien's kind of been a hoe. He's been with 3, make that 4 with the trade. What makes this trade different is how much money is involved, especially, again, for a 1-1 swap. You don't really see this. Like, the Angels and Orioles made a swap last week, so I guess this is a trend now, but that didn't involve anyone expensive. Taylor Ward went to the Orioles and Grayson Rodriguez to the Angels, both guys who haven't hit free agency yet in their careers. Ward is only a year away, but he's still cheap for 2026, and Rodriguez is 4 years away from free agency. He's making pennies on the dollar. Like, he might have to get a side hustle to make ends meet. I'm kidding, but that had nothing to do with money. This trade, though, has money everywhere. Semien's on the back end of his contract, the 7-year deal he signed with Texas, so he's got 3 years left, but it's still good money. He's making over $20 million each year, and Nimmo, who signed an 8-year deal, has 5 years left and about $95 million over those 5 years. It's definitely not the craziest contract ever for Nimmo. So, okay, from an emotional perspective, like if I was a Rangers fan, I'd really be sad to see Semien go. And if I was a Mets fan, I'd definitely be sad to see Nimmo go. But from a logical baseball perspective, a lot of people are saying the Mets got fleeced in this trade. Like from the instant reactions I saw, I don't think I saw one person say, what are the Rangers doing? It was only the opposite. And if you look at just this trade on its own, I mean, yeah, it does kind of look that way, sure. Nimmo is a few years younger. He's offensively more reliable. Why trade him for an aging Semien? It's actually crazy when you see the difference between the two. Like, get a load of this shit. In 2025, Nimmo literally led Semien in every stat other than one. And what was that one stat he led in? WAR, which is supposed to be the ultimate decider in who's more valuable.
Nothing makes sense anymore!
I don't think that many people actually take WAR as gospel anyway, but is that not crazy? That according to that stat, wins above replacement, the stat that's supposed to be the end-all be-all on how valuable a player is, like it takes everything and puts it into one number, that's the one stat that favored Semien, while not a single other one did? Anyway, yeah, the trade seems uneven, sure, but this is also one of those trades where you gotta wait to see what else the Mets do to fully judge it. Because what they just did by trading Nimmo is open up a spot in the outfield for someone they could see being a better fit. I talked about Semien's decline, but Nimmo's also... he's been declining a little bit of his own, offensively and defensively. Now, he could get his numbers back up next year. Sure, I wouldn't be shocked if he did that. But I think a big thing with the Mets and all this, it's kind of like what their general manager was talking about after he did the trade, is that they really just want to shake things up after the way 2025 ended. Like, that was bad. I feel like there should be a legal obligation to have to do some drastic things following a collapse like that. Like, the fans should have the right to sue the team if they didn't. There's already a few players who might not come back in free agency. You have Jeff McNeil, another longtime Met with only a year left on his contract, who's rumored to be traded at some point. So the Mets probably want a big hitter, whether it's Kyle Tucker, who'd of course cost the most, Cody Bellinger, who just had a damn good year with the Yankees. They just want some new ways to go after this. And I don't think Semien is a bad addition on his own. Obviously, he's not the one thing they're going to do. He's not the answer. But I think, like, on his own, he's a great defensive infield add. Him and Lindor up the middle is pretty sexy. And I still think, even though you obviously can't count on him to be a big bat, I still think there's some good offense left in the tank there. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see him have a pretty good year next year offensively. This seems like a pretty good trade for the Rangers. If you look at it from their perspective, they're adding a good bat while trading away a declining and aging one. Okay, great. Again, just on that alone, it looks like they fleeced the Mets, and maybe in the long run that'll be true. But right now, I don't think that's fair. I feel like you got to see this play out. Seems like the Mets want to get nuts this offseason. I mean, not that that's any different from any other offseason since Steve Cohen became their owner, but it especially has to now after the way their season ended this year. So this trade, sending Brandon Nimmo off,
he's just the beginning.
and same goes for the Rangers. They seem to be on the same energy. They already non-tendered Adolis Garcia, which basically means they just let him become a free agent. Same with Jonah Heim. Those are two players who played big parts in their championship. Make that three now gone with Semien. There's also been rumors they're looking to trade Corey Seager to get his contract off the books. He still has almost $200 million and 6 years left. Again, nobody's loyal anymore. These teams are just signing all these players to these contracts and they just want to send them off. Like, did you not think about this when you gave him 10 years and over $300 million? That maybe you'd regret it not even halfway through? Like, can you at least get halfway through the freaking deal? Although, the way the Rangers are talking, it doesn't seem like it makes sense to trade Seager, though. Like, it doesn't make sense that's what they want to do, even though that's been reported. According to the Rangers, they want to win next year. They're not in a rebuild phase. That's what they told Nimmo. Nimmo said he wouldn't have accepted the trade, which he had the power to do, to decline in his contract. He said he wouldn't have accepted it if the team was in a rebuild, if they weren't trying to get back to the World Series soon. I feel like them saying that just to turn around and trade Seager has to be illegal. Like, there's no way. So, anyway, there are already big changes being made with these two teams, the Mets and Rangers, and we're not even in December yet. This trade was definitely out of nowhere, but again, I wouldn't fully say anyone got fleeced yet. I think there's a lot more coming to tell us the whole story, and Lord knows what that is. So that's about it for now. Love you. Bye.